Alright, hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm super excited because I've built a Katakuri deck, but not just any deck. This one is built for my fiance. We've designed it so that it practically plays itself, relying on trigger effects, big bodies, and some solid synergies that don't require a lot of thinking on your feet. I think it's perfect for anyone who wants a fun, strong deck without stress of heavy strategizing. So let's just dive in and see how this deck runs. First and foremost, we are on the One Piece Top Decks website. If you notice, I'm in the Asia format instead of English, just because they're so far ahead of us, and it makes me comfortably see what kind of decks were being used or utilized during the OP10 format. Clearly, they're past that, but this, like before, I made a video on the Limb deck. And this is where I pulled this one from. It's the Asia Final Top 8. But not to get sidetracked, let's just go straight to Katakuri. We'll find our leader here, and this is showing that the host was Bandai Maxsoft. Placement was 7/2, but then it's showing that the attendance was 657, so I'm not sure if that's accurate. But right here, this is the deck that I built a variation off of. Let me go back in here. And it's not exactly the same. I definitely have taken out a few things and replaced it with my own variations. Like a perfect example would be the Namis I replaced with um, Thunderbolt, I think is what it is. It's a 2 cost that you can remove life. But just to get right into the leader here, um, here is our leader, Dawn. Attach 1 when attacking. Look at the top 1 life card from the top of your opponent's life area or your own and put it on the top or bottom, and you gain 1000 plus the 1000 power from the Dawn. So you can quintessentially swing for 7000. I do not run the Shirahoshis. Instead, I run 2 Charlotte Brulés with the trigger that automatically comes. I do not run the 4 Monkey D. Luffys that search for supernovas. I could, but I've replaced them with 4 Big Moms, 2 that are 6 cost and 2 that are 7 cost. And then the Namis here, I replaced all 4 with Thunderbolt. I that way I don't have to focus so wholly on play abilities. Here we've got 4 Big Moms, 10 cost. Take a life, add a life. Our 4 Capone Beige, we know basically for the 2K counter and the trigger. Satori here, we run 4 of those, same thing, 2K counter and trigger, so we're sitting at 8 2K counters. Pretty much your basic Katakuri deck from before, just with a few variations. Onami, I've run 4 of these. I think it's imperative just because of the trigger here. K up to one of your opponent's 5 cost or lower characters. Between this and Thunderbolt, that's 8. If your opponent's at 3 or less life, play this card. But the big thing for strategizing with Okiku would be the on KO effect, which is to add 1 life. I run 2 Nico Robins instead of the 3, but if your opponent has 3 or more, it automatically trashes a life. I replaced the 3rd Nico Robin with an Ace. Lastly, these are new to OP10. We have the Basil Hawkins. 4 of these I think are imperative, and they're great cards. I mean, the only way to deal with them would be to trash the card or bottom deck it. Another one from OP10. I run 4 of these on play. You can rest it to trash 1. Between 4 of these, 4 Big Moms, and the other 4 Big Moms, I have a lot of means to remove life from my opponent. And then lastly, we have 4 more of the X Drakes, also from OP10. Honestly, I just use it for the 2K counter, and then the situational activate main with it. And these I do only run 3. I think I need to run 4. But these are great for Katakuri since he can look at the top of his deck, and that's pretty much my variation of the Katakuri deck. Let me just go right into the Onepiecetcg and just pull it up to show you what mine looks like comparatively to. So if you notice, I do have the 1 Ace instead of 3 Nico Robins. I have what could I get rid of? So let's get rid of 1 Charlotte Brulé and go ahead and just add this other event here. Perfect. And if you notice, my other two events are, hold on one second, close this. Let's just, yeah, go right into it. I've showed you pretty much the base of these. I've got the three Kikonojus, one ace that isn't in there. I think it's situational, but and again, I could be messing up throwing him in here. But I think more than two Nika Ramen might be too much. Basil, Eustace, X Drake. We have the Brulee. Um, we could run four of those and get rid of maybe two of the six cost moms. I do like the seven cost mom though. But pretty much six, seven, eight, and tens. 10 Dawn is covered. My Thunderbolt, I like that it just an activate main. I don't have to. This is my way around Blackbeard, and on it just comes in good handy whenever there's a block run field. I have life, just trash the life to KO it, and then this here, this can be played behind the zero cost event. If this happens to be triggered, I can throw that into my life pool and then send it to the bottom. So that's my Katakuri. We won't waste any time. Let's just get right into playing some matches here. And so the goal here was to create a deck that's easy to pilot and gets stronger the more you play it. Katakuri is the perfect leader for this. His ability is simple. Every time you attack, you pretty much get to, and that's if you have the one Don attached. You're swinging for 7 every turn. So I think it's great. Um, I think it creates natural momentum. Other cards you could replace into this deck: the pair of sparrows, the Charlotte Crackers, the smoothies, all cards that I don't run in here. Um, it is situational to keep the OP06 Big Mom in here, or the I or the 10 cost Big Mom. I think we could do without that with how many cards are out in yellow. That could really change the playing field. Alright, so our first matchup is a Shanks. Off the back, I'm going to mulligan. Most of the time I mulligan because if I have too many triggers in hand, that's not a hand that I want to keep. It really doesn't matter what my starting hand is because most of the time I can't play it. You know, I tend to want to go first so that way I can swing for 7 right off the back, and then maybe keep my 2 Dawn in the back to play a counter, or maybe I can play it behind Onami to add banish to the character, and that's turn 1 for myself. And again, one of the key things I've noticed with this deck is is that you just keep playing. You don't need to plan every move, which is perfect for someone who's new to the game or doesn't want to focus on 1,000 combos. Just trigger effects, big bodies, and consistency. So that, again, this deck wasn't made for me. I'm making this for my fiance so that way she can be viable, play, have some fun, and there's such a big gamble and reward here with the with I think playing yellow strictly with triggers. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and swing all in, taking one Dawn off, or taking one of the life off. If you notice that my leader ability lets me look at the top card or of either one of my opponent or myself's life, and I can choose to keep it on the top or the bottom. And main strategy here is staying active, being consistent. His ability is simple: just attack after you draw, rinse and repeat. Pretty much draw, attack, and then play something relatively under the amount of Dawn that you do have. So if you have 5 Dawn, play a 4 cost and keep that one. You know, if you have 4 Dawn, play a 3 cost or and keep that one. I'm always wanting to attach one to always swing for 7, and this works great. I think it's a good matchup versus Red Shanks. We'll use our 1-2K counter, and then remember we do still have a brulee at the top there, so that will come in handy. We'll deploy um, him and then swing for 8. He could use the blocker to KO Basil Hawkins, and then I trash another life from him, or he could play Ben Beckman next turn to trash the Basil Hawkins, and that's how Red can deal with that. Alright, so 5 to life. I do have 1-2K counter. Anything else after, we'll go ahead and just set up the... Oop, he removed the Basil Hawkins with the Ben Beckman, like I said before. Let's go ahead and play the 7 cost mom. Yeah, the Eustace would take a life for sure, but the mom quintessentially has the ability to also do so or add 1. And then I can also swing again for 7. He would have to use leader ability and then use a 2K counter or 2 1K counters to get out of that. Alright, so there's my Thunderbolt. We will use the trigger. He'll probably target Brule. That's fine. Blocker for blocker. And then Raleigh trashed my mom. So we will... so if you notice, I'm just playing simple turns. You know, one big character and then swing. One big character, then swing. We'll place this on the top. And our triggers are helping us. You know, like clearly if he swings in, I'll be able to freeze or prevent one of his characters from attacking on the trigger. And then I also just took a life with Eustace Kid, and then I took a life with my leader ability. So it's what that tells me is in his hand he didn't have a 2K counter. I'll get rid of the Eustace Kid since I already have one of those. Um, I'm feeling pretty good still. I have 1-0 cost event that lets me counter up 3,000, so I could counter out of that. But since he swung with the little guy first, let's use our trigger and then stop Raleigh from attacking. And then let's just assume he's got some kind of rush character. Yeah, we will counter out of that. And I'm assuming he could attach the 5, swing for 10. Okay, I'm going to use my 1-2K counter. And alright, I survived that turn. We'll draw. This is pretty good. I'm hoping he actually has the counter. I'd like him to bait the counter out. Okay. Alright, so our first match, we did very well. I never know which direction we're going to go with Shanks. We won't waste any time. We'll just get right back into another match. I absolutely love this leader. I think Katakuri is just so fun to use. I think yellow is a great color to play with. I think specifically just for the triggers, it's just always fun to take a life and not know what you're gonna get. And then we do have a few cards that can alter that, like the Flaming Dragon King there that I just pulled in this hand. I would love to see it in my life because when you take it, just in case I can manipulate my life and I can take a card from my life and add one from my hand into life with the Flaming Dragon King. 8. So yeah, I could use 2K counters, but we'll take that. We'll just attach 2, attack, and then look at the top, place on top. So he's got 3 life left. So our trigger, when it activates, Kikonoku will be able to play herself. If your opponent's at 3 or less life, play this card. We will use our Flaming Dragon King just so we can take a look at our life here. Yeah, let's set it up this way. Kikonoki. I'm butchering that. And the Onami there for the trigger effect that would KO a 5 cost and under. Kikonoju though, sorry about that. If she happens to be KO'd off the field, then I'll gain a life if my opponent's life is at 3 or less. We'll place that on bottom just so he doesn't get too many blockers. But again, my main strategy is just swinging with Dawn every turn because I get the extra 1,000 for the leader ability. And then just playing what I have. Maybe next turn I'll play the Basil Hawkins so I can have one of each. One that will add a life if it's KO'd, and the other one will remove a life if it's KO'd. Ooh, okay. Oh, so he KO'd, so I did gain my life. We'll use 1 2K counter to counter out of that. We could use a Thunderbolt, but let's just get a Basil Hawkins out there. 1 2, it leaves me with 2 Dawn. Yeah. Alright, so I did 2, for only 2 Dawn, you can't beat it, that it KOs a 5 cost and under. It's not an on play, it's an activate main. You do need to have the life to be able to use it. I could next turn play either one of these. I may play this Lin, trashing 1 card from your hand, your opponent chooses 1. They can discard 2 cards or I think trash a card. Or trash a card from their life. I do have the 2K counters, so we'll use them both to bring me up to 9. And then we'll take that. Use the trigger here. We will play. Actually, we'll play There we go. So that one will force him to trash 2 cards from his hand. That helps me out as far as limiting his counter power, and then just making sure he. Okay. So that's unfortunate. It was pretty. Maybe it was. I'm not sure why he quit. I still could have gone either or. Maybe, I don't know. We'll just get back into it. I'd hate. That's 2 people that quit on us. And again, the worst part is waiting for another match, but it is what it is. Well, come to think of it, that last match, he did only have 1 jack left in hand with no counter power. So I'm assuming he would have just been able. Yeah, maybe the life would have definitely started coming off. Maybe that's why he quit, or he expounded on all of his cards. Not sure. Also, I'm not familiar with that leader, and let's hope I don't. Yeah. Have to quit or back to main menu and then start over. Sometimes I'll just refresh it. We'll try it one more time. Exit out, leave, and alright. So I've got a few triggers that I don't want, and this is perfect. I like taking Nico Robbins. 6 Dawn, if they got 3 or more life, we can go ahead and just trash one of their life. Six, so we'll use 1 2K counter, the counter out. For Dawn, we'll just attach all 4, swing for 10. Definitely counter out. Okay. So we do have the 6. Let's just go ahead and deploy it. Trashing 1 from their life. Swing for 5. Didn't want to wait any longer, but this is what, our turn 3, and they're already down 2 life, and we have 5 life. And remember, we still have the big moms. That's our one way where we can ramp life back up, just in case. I'm not worried there. And then the luck of the draw would be we have our event that's the 0 cost that happens to be in our life, and if we catch it, we can send it to the bottom to go ahead and just add 1 more. So for people that aren't familiar with that synergy there, if I'm sitting with 5 life but I put that event at the bottom, it pretty much as soon as the trigger takes effect, ooh, this is perfect. So we're gonna want to add. Oh, do I want to KO? Because I could KO something with the Thunderbolt and not lose the life. Because normally it would be perfect to show how that card works, but we'll deploy, trash another one, and we'll swing for 6, and we'll swing for 5 with the leader. Ooh, I might have hit intern on accident, so it might have pushed through to end of turn. Onepiecetcg, his ability lets me draw and trash one. Hopefully, hopefully my example I'm showing how to play has perfect. So we use our trigger, get rid of the blocker there. Turn passes. So we've got our 10 done. Let's just go up 1 life, trash 1, and then swing for 9. He'll just need 2, if he's got 3 2K counters or 2 2K counters. Oh, okay. Gum Giant. They'll bring him to 9, draw, and then he can use whatever counter he's got, and then I'll swing with my 5. So this is a really fun match. So the goal of this deck is pretty simple. We're going to set up a board that plays itself basically through a mix of triggers and massive bodies, and then the bodies will pretty much they're on play, or I think every one of them has an on play if they were to remove life. Alright, so another one, I mean that one was definitely going to go in our favor here, but so I think the key cards for this deck that make this work, we could do without the 6 cost or 7 cost Charlotte Lens, but definitely the 10 cost Lens that removes the opponent's life and adds 1 automatically, just in case we're ahead or we have blockers on field. That's just a good card to put into this deck. Next would be the Onepiecetcg, just another one, only 8 costs, and the draw ability really just helps us out with trying to find or rotate the cards that we need. So we will definitely mulligan because I don't want to see both of those cards in hand instead of in life. Likelihood is very low, but you know. Well, let's see here. Now I've got 2 2K counters, 1 blocker, and then a 0 cost event that brings that's a 3000 power. So we're looking good. We'll just attach all 3 done to Katakuri and swing for 8. Alright, 6 Dawn. 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we'll just go ahead and attach all. Swing again. Place on top. Ooh, I didn't realize that was a blocker there. It's not the best hand I have, but that's a lot of counter, so that's good. Seven, and we'll use those to bring me to 10. Alright, again, not pulling the best hand, but let's get our blocker out there and then attach all Dawn. Ooh, place that on the bottom for sure. And in turn, maybe if he sees the 2 active Dawn, okay. So there goes the Brulee. So Uda's definitely got some, you know, I didn't even think about it. She's pretty much she's got a good color combination. I think red purple is really strong. And 4 life, that's just 1 extra life over the 3 life Monkey D. Luffy that happens to be the purple red. And I think yeah, honestly that'd be a good, that'd be a really fun deck to make or do a video on in the future. Alright, so let's just deploy our Big Mom and start taking life away. Such a fun card too. Such a fun card. But I got 1 2K, another Big Mom that I can play next turn to bring me up to 6 or take life. We'll see what happens here. Ooh. Oh yeah. Ooh, I didn't read that properly. I thought she played on trigger. So let's use this and KO the blocker. Draw and yeah, let's gain the life, take 1, and then swing for 5. I wonder if he's got the counter. Alright. Long shot. But I've got 4 life. We'll see what they play this turn. If there's some kind of removal, that will definitely change the game. Oh, here we are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. So no trigger. That would have been great to have on the bottom there. Yeah, we'll take that blocker out. Doing the math, I think I should be looking pretty good. So the next hit's gonna go through with Shanks. And that should be it. Awesome. So yeah, next turn I just would have, what did he have for counter? Nothing. So I just would have gone all in with the Big Mom and without a blocker on field. I think that hurt him, having that trigger effect. Again, something else that I was thinking that would go great into this deck would be the 5-cost Monkey D. Luffy's that you can trash the character from the field, send it to trash, and then if you have 2 or less life, it will KO a 4 or under. But the trigger effect for that card also is to KO a 4 cost or under, just to add more trigger power. It would, you know, I could take out the 4 Charlotte Land lens that are the 6 and 7 costs and then put those Monkey D. Luffy's in there, or even the Namis that also their trigger is to KO a 5 cost. We want to place that on top there. Flaming Dragon King I'll use. Let's see, he'll swing at me. I need to get that Nami off board, but ooh, I totally forgot to use my dragon or Flaming Dragon King. That was why. Yeah, we'll just play Basil Hawkins and then attach our last Dawn to the leader here and then swing for 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So he's got 6 Dawn. So he can't play Basil Hawkins yet. Or I'm sorry, Ben Beckman. To trash the Basil Hawkins. Yeah, I don't think he would have attached that Dawn if he would have. Maybe that was an accident. I'm not sure. He could have attached. Oh yeah, there's really nothing else he could have done. Yeah, what I think the fun part about this deck is the triggers, without a doubt. It's got good defense or good counter, good triggers, great aggro. Just all around a really good deck, especially for beginners. So this is why on the TCG here it's called the Ashley Katakuri deck. That's 7 on 5. Yeah, but just so remember, if you're trying to get your girlfriend or fiance or wife into it, or a friend that's not really good or at TCG or new to the TCG format, or card games in general, this I think would be the best deck. You could run Anel. I think Anel would be another great leader with his ability to trash a card and then add another life, and then pair that with the 0 cost events that I have in here. There's a lot of fun. Just yellow in general is a great beginner. I think a great beginner color to use. So we'll put the Satori at the top there, and then use one 2K counter. Yeah, and the idea is just let them hit you if so, and then play your triggers, or play your big bodies, and then their on play will activate. Oh, what just happened? Oops. It's not looking too good. But the good news is red does not have a lot of counter power. Most of the time, it would be a gamble, but wonder why they attached the 2 Dawn. Alright. Oh, trigger activated. Let's use card action and then swing for 5. Ooh, nice. That's unfortunate to have just a monkey, a Shanks, and 2 monkey D dragons. There's no counter in that hand. He did have the 1 radical beam, but he didn't have any active Dawn. Might have been best. Yeah, he should have saved the Dawn from the Nami that he attached. He attached 2. I'm not sure why. Maybe that was a mistake, but against a Marco. We'll do the usual, take another mulligan. Perfect. I love seeing Nico Robin in my hand. We got a Basil Hawkins in hand instead of the trigger. The trigger's not bad though. 3, so let's just attach all 3. Swinging for 9 at. And then again, I do only run one of those aces. They're just for fun. If I want to take the ace out, I could replace it with another Nico Robin. Technically, I think this deck would allow us, or should run 3 of those. But we'll put the 1 Basil Hawkins out. I should have looked at the top of my opponent's life, but just to show how this isn't really meant to be a meta deck or be heavy on competitive. It was just, this is basically what I think that my fiance or how she would basically play too. Just kind of managing only your life pool, looking at that, and just trying to keep it simple. You know, if the trigger benefits you, we use it. So we'll deploy the Nico Robin, trashing 1 life. Alright. I'd say this will probably be, you know, I like a good quick match. You know, I like something that, generally I like to play ranked matches because they keep a good pace. Every once in a while I'll go against someone who's just taking forever, and that's just part of the game sometimes, especially in real tournaments or locals nights, etc. Let's just deploy one of those to trash a Thunderbolt. We don't need 2 Thunderbolts. Either they're going to trash 2 cards from hand. Alright, so he took the life. Let's just swing for 7 with Basil and then 7 with Katakuri. Ending turn. I'd say by next turn. We'll see what happens. So he's got no blockers, right? Porcus D-Ace is a blocker, okay. Trash one of the opponent's life. Oh, perfect. Let's just take it all. Hopefully we'll keep 1 life. We'll use Thunderbolt, removing 1 of our life. I'm gonna type LOL, just unfortunate, you know, I hate this for him. And we'll go all in, because there's no possible way to block this. Ooh, that's nice. Put it on bottom. Good games. So we'll leave. Just good luck. You know, some nights I'll not be so rewarded with wins, or I just tend to run into a losing streak. But I think today has been pretty rewarding with our wins with the Katakuri. I mean, I went up against one guy in rank. I think he was playing as Shanks, and I ended up. I mean, I won the match, but I think he was very upset. And in the chat, he had typed, "You didn't do anything. You just sat there and let triggers play and bodies remove my life." And yeah, that was quintessentially the idea of the deck itself, is just let triggers activate. And again, if you just just a few extra ideas, if you wanted more removal for your deck, you could do the Namis that you can trash a trigger card on play and remove a 5 cost or under, but her trigger removes a 5 cost, and same as the 5 cost Monkey D. Luffy's. They remove a 4 cost on trigger. Just to throw that out there, it's something I'm thinking about doing. But I do like the extra heat that the Linlens play, So essentially, when I saw this deck online, the variation, they do run the Supernova Searcher or the Straw Hat Searcher, or maybe it's a Monkey D. Luffy Searcher. I'm not sure. This doesn't look like it's moving, so let me just exit. This is why sometimes I'll just disconnect, reconnect until I find something. But yeah, back to what I was saying, the Monkey D. Luffy searchers, I could do without those. Or, I'm sorry, the variation of that deck had those in there. I could go and add those in there. That's also a good possibility. It never hurts to throw in some, since there are so many Supernova cards in the deck. I think the only thing that I sacrificed would be the Nami that I replaced with the Thunderbolts, and then the Shirahoshi that I replaced with the Brule. Besides that, everything else tends to be the same. Let's hope we get something this time. Another idea is if it is locked up, or maybe there's too many people in the server playing, then you could just move over to Eastern. Sometimes if I can't get a match in Western, I'll just move over there and play, and it'll give you a good idea of what cards are in rotation or being used. So, and this should be a very challenging match. We've got our old meta here, Doflamingo. We do want to keep the hand. I do have a Nico Robin here. So I'll just attach the 1, swinging for 7, keeping our 2 active Don. I should have looked at his instead of mine, but I have a Flaming Dragon King I can use, and he swings at me next turn, so I can look and reorder all of my life. So we'll use that Flaming Dragon King, and let's put Satori at the top. We'll actually keep the Brule here. Everything else is unfortunate, not good triggers. I wanted to see some Onamis, or even maybe a Nico Robin that can play a 3 cost. Basil Hawkins that draws. So we'll get our Basil out, Swing for 7 at our buddy here. He just needs 2K. The census behind this is not, just in case, I didn't want him to take a life and add another card to hand. I kind of want to start him removing cards from his hand, but it looks like he took that. So we were able to remove Weevil off the board. Oh, so he played a Jozu, sending back the Basil Hawkins. Alright. Oh yeah, we'll play our Nico Robin. Trashing 1. Then adding the last Dawn to our Katakuri here. We'll place that at the bottom. We don't want that too early. So he just needs 2 cards or 3. And we'll swing for 5. Just needs 1K counter, which he took. He may either want to keep the card in hand or he doesn't have the counter, is what I'm seeing. No, let's keep him alive long enough to lose him. Because next turn, I'm thinking I'll play the Onepiecetcg, resting him on play to remove life from our opponent. These Thunderbolts are great, good to save. Just in case there happens to be a blocker. So yeah, we'll play the Onepiecetcg. We'll swing 7 on leader. And then same as before, if he's got the blockers still there, by next turn and we have the life available, we'll use our Thunderbolt for 2 Dawn, removing a life. And let's actually get rid of the Onepiecetcg. So that way we have 3,000 counter power, 1 Thunderbolt to deal with the blocker. And that's 1. So it's an Onepiecetcg that goes to hand. I think the next one's also an Onepiecetcg. Oh, okay. So we can use the blocker. So I've got 1, 2, and there's 3,000. So I have 5,000 counter power. 2 life. But it's not a good position to be in. He's got a 12K swing, 2 7s. So I can block one of the 7s with the event. 1, 2. So that really leaves me open heavily, but I also have that blocker that's the brulee that's a trigger. Perfect. So we'll use the Thunderbolt to trash the... I don't know why he didn't swing with his leader, but that really helped me out here, and that's just going to be game. Oh, does he have... Oh no. Nice. Alright, and this will be our very last match. Afterwards, I feel like these matches should be a good example, like monkey see, monkey do, for how to play with this offshoot, off meta deck. So we will mulligan. I don't want to see 2 Thunderbolts off the back. Like usual, we'll place all 3 of our Dawn onto our leader. Place the brulee, or the we'll place the beige there on the bottom of our life. And I don't... that will bring me to 8, then that to 9, so we're good. Same as before, we'll attach all Dawn to Katakuri, swing in for 10, place on bottom, even though he's already got a 1000 Sunny out there. Next turn I'll be at 7 Dawn. Perfect. Good trigger, and then we'll use our counter to get out of that. On play when attacking. So we're just gonna want to keep the cards we have in hand. Swing big. Let's go 9 at Luffy. He's got no active Dawn. And then same, we'll swing for 10. Oh, nice, place on top. So the Kikonoju's, if your opponent's life is at 3 or less, play this card. That's not a bad trigger. So he's got 1 blocker. So a Thunderbolt would be nice. Let's use this trigger here. We'll use our Satori to counter out of that. And we don't have a trigger. Alright, so next up would be either one of the, let's do the Charlotte Lin, just so we can have more Dawn to swing with. Attach 1, swing for 7. He'll use Gum Gum Giant, I think, if he's got it. And 7 again. So I guess that he's going for removal for Charlotte Landland. That wouldn't benefit us because we don't have a 3 cost or under. So we are at 10. We'll play the Oostis Kid. And then attach the 2 Dawn. We'll keep our 2 Dawn active, so that way we can use our Flaming Dragon King. Ooh, nice. So we definitely want to move this to the bottom. We'll move beige up there, because I'd imagine the next hit will go through. It'd be nice to let the leader hit me or Zoro first. Let's take that and use the trigger on Brooke. Use the trigger and getting rid of a Big Mom. And then our very last trigger is gonna actually just be an extra life. I could use actually all 3 of these to counter out. So we're looking good. So it looks like our final match they quit. So if you're looking for a fun off-meta Katakuri deck that can do some damage, this one is definitely worth a try. The goal behind this deck was to create something that essentially plays itself, making it a great starting point if you're just getting into One Piece. So I'd say it's simple enough to understand, but still has plenty of depth for strategy and fun. But if you like this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deck guides, and drop a comment below if you've got any questions or suggestions. I'd love to hear how we can tweak this deck. Thanks for watching. Until next time.